My story. When I grow up, I want to go to college and then law school and become a lawyer just like my father. I also want to get married, unless I can't work, too. If I don't make it in law school, I want to become a teacher. By Sherri Moore, age 7. At 7, I knew where I wanted my bridge to go. I saw my path. It was the same path my father had taken, the man I adored, not just because of all he'd accomplished, because of what he'd also overcome. You see, my father, thank you, was first generation Greek immigrant. He grew up in a small southern town in Virginia, which wasn't easy with a name like Homer, and a brother's name who's Plato. I'm not kidding. Yet my father never complained. And my father was also fortunate enough to have a father who understood the value of education. He understood when he came to America, the only way that his children would have more than my grandfather had was if they were able to achieve an education. So he sacrificed everything to make sure that he could send his 2 boys to UVA, not only undergraduate, but also to law school. My father, having seen the beauty and the opportunities that presented him, did the same for his 4 children. 4 of us went to college because of my father, and 2 of us on to law school. My father didn't stop there. It wasn't just about our family. It was about everyone. The one thing I admired the most about my father is how much he loved everybody, particularly his community. And he was always giving back. Clients would come in, and he'd say, well, it's going to cost you, X amount of dollars for me to take your case. And they'd be like, I only have $10. My father would be like, okay, fine, sit down. My father knew that there was a gap, right? There was no bridge between those who graduated from high school, right, and didn't have the opportunities to go on to college. And so he decided to start this school called the Hopewell College. It was a night school for high school grads. They were allowed to go for free. And what they did at that school was learn a trade. They learned to become electricians or plumbers or whatever it took so they could go out and work in the industries in this small town and actually have a good paying job and create more opportunities for them. This school was so successful that my father was approached by Governor Godwin in the late 60s because it became actually the precursor to the Virginia Community College system. I was so proud. I wanted to follow his path. And I got off to a pretty good start. It was a little bumpy. I have 3 older brothers. They were not the nicest. Particularly the, endearing prayers, God is good, God is great, it is Sherri that we hate. Good news, they had to go to bed without any dinner. But I got over those bumps. The bumps were small. I mean, they would tell me that, you can't go to law school. You're not going to UVA. Girls don't go to UVA. This was the 60s. They were right. And girls don't become lawyers. Well, not so much, but not many were going to the courtroom, which is where I wanted to go. But I did what I always did. I ignored them. La, la, la. I just put my foot to the pedal. I grabbed onto the wheel as hard as I could, and I moved forward. But as I was cruising forward, I hit a pothole. The pothole came when I was in high school. I was a junior. My mother came to us and told us that she'd been diagnosed with a rare form of blood cancer. She was 42, and she was told she had 3 years to live. She was my best friend. I didn't understand. And I didn't think I'd be able to go on. I was stuck in this hole. How could I go on my journey without her? Right? How would I ever get through UVA or law school or become a lawyer, God forbid, get married and have children if she wasn't there? But she had the opposite attitude. She could see that the sand in her hourglass was limited, and she knew that every single grain of sand that was left counted. And she'd say to me, I've got the privilege of the time, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste it worrying about how I feel or how long this bridge is. I just want to live. So she pulled me up out of that hole, and we went on our journey together. And she was not only there to watch me graduate from UVA, she was there when I graduated from law school. And yeah, she was there 17 years later when I walked down the aisle with my soulmate. But then my life hit a roadblock. 8 months after I got married, I was sitting in my office. It was 4:30. It was a Monday, March. The phone rang. And the doctor on the other line said, "Your husband's been in an accident. And he's not responding." And I said, "Wait. What?" I was a lawyer. Words were my business, but I couldn't make sense of the words not responding. So weeks of tests, hoping and searching to find brain activity, unfortunately resulted in the opposite of my prayers. And at 30, the doctors came to me and asked me to unplug my husband's life, my life. 3 days later, he was gone. 4 months later, the very day that should have been my first year wedding anniversary, my mother lost her battle. And I remember looking at God going, if you're trying to get me, just take me. Why are you taking everybody I love? And at that point, my bridge came to an end. I was at a dead end. I didn't have the desire anymore to go forward. There was nowhere to turn around and go back. And the only detour led to the water. And I remember climbing up on the rail of the bridge, right, and looking out at the water going, that seems like a pretty good option. It'd be so easy to just jump in, right, to wash away all the pain. But I felt something pulling me from the other side of that wall. Those who'd already gone ahead of me. And I also felt a shove, right, from behind me, those who still needed me to be part of their story. And I turned around from the water, and all of a sudden I saw this bridge, this new bridge going over the roadblock. And as I got to it, I realized the bridge was the advice my parents had given me. My mother's telling me, you've got the privilege of the time. Don't waste it. My father reminding me that life wasn't about just me. It was about giving back. So I climbed up that bridge. And I got to tell you, what I saw at the top was nothing short of amazing. Small, beautiful, shiny bridges going each and everywhere, crisscrossing, going all over the place. Bridges that led to new laughter. Bridges that led to new dreams. Bridges that led to love again. But perhaps the coolest part was the shiny bridge that took the dreams of a small 7-year-old and bridged them with a something-year-old woman who now finds herself at UVA, having been a lawyer, being able to share her passion not only with law, but about life with students who share with her the obstacles they've overcome. And those that haven't yet, who are still at the foot of their bridge, also teach her and help me understand why my bridge didn't have a dead end. Thank you.